This is not about trusting that she will
Good.
change her position. This is about forcing her to change her position, putting her in office because she is going to be somebody that we will be able to push.
And yes, before you hit me up in the comments, I know that they're just another piece of this system that is essentially on the same coin. I get that, okay? But the Democratic Party is more movable, more persuasive into doing things that the people want them to do. There's no argument. You can't argue that compared to the Republican Party. All right, so if you're watching this video here on election day, then this is my last opportunity to try to convince you that there's no way on God's green earth, there is no way in the Marvel Cinematic Universe that Trump is ever going to be better than Harris in any conversation, in any policies that you can think of. There's no way that Trump is going to be better than Harris. And if you don't believe me, I already made plenty of videos talking about this. But in regards to education, I haven't heard anything Trump or his administration have said except for closing the school boards down. Like, that's the only thing they have talked about. They nothing about making college more affordable, more fundings for our public schools, none of that. So when it comes to home buying, I haven't heard anything from Trump. But of course, Harris has said something. Inflation, tariffs. That's the only thing that Trump has said. And supposedly he's going to try to bring jobs back without articulating how he's going to do that. The Palestine genocide. Trump wants to completely wipe out Gaza so he can build his hotels. Jobs, already went over that. Healthcare. What has Trump said besides he has concepts of a plan? And if I missed it, he hasn't told us that concept. You know what I'm saying? I can't watch every video on YouTube or on the internet, but I haven't heard no cohesive, detailed plan when it comes to healthcare. So once again, there is no way that Trump is better in any way, shape, or form than Harris. Let me know in the comments down below. Join the Discord so we can even talk about it. But, you know, that's one thing that we need to make sure that we have clear is that Harris is not my first pick. And I'm pretty sure she's not a lot of people's first pick. But we need to make sure that we're being strategic in our voting. We have a strategy in our voting. And just like a lot of people, I have no emotions, no ties to the Democratic Party. They don't owe me nothing and I don't owe them nothing. This is completely transactional. You know what I'm saying? So one thing that we need to do is make sure the people who are around Harris has confidence behind her that she will at least do some of the things that has promised, or some of the things like the Palestine-Israel situation, that we can get the results that we want. And the best person who can speak about that is Representative Jayapal. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. Jayapal. She's in my opinion a progressive. You know what I'm saying? Of course, she may not go as progressive as, you know, we want her to, but she's better than a lot of the liberal, centrist, milquetoast, no spine Democrats. You know what I'm saying? So let's go ahead and hear what she has to say about voting for Harris. Let me find my timestamp here. I should have did this earlier, but I didn't. All right, let's take a listen.
People like yourself are like, no. When she's president, she will change.
No. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is absolutely do not trust. This is not about trusting that she will change her position. This is about forcing her to change her position, putting her in office because she is going to be somebody that we will be able to push. Now, it's going to require a lot. I don't want to, diminish this. It's going to require us building a bigger voice, a bigger movement, taking on those special interests. But Mehdi, things that were seen as impossible before have gotten done. And I'll go back in history, the Voting Rights Act.
And she brings up a good point. And I've been saying this since day one, since Harris has jumped into the race, that with Harris and essentially overall as the Democratic Party, and yes, before you hit me up in the comments, I know that they're just another piece of this system that is essentially on the same coin. I get that, okay? But the Democratic Party is more movable, more persuasive into doing things that the people want them to do. There's no argument. You can't argue that compared to the Republican Party. Name one point in history where the Democratic Party were more strong-headed in versus the Republican Party, or at least in my lifetime. Like, you might be able to go like 200 years, then okay, I got you. But within my lifetime, 50, I'm not saying I'm 50, but, within 50, 60 years, it's always the Republican Party like forcing down the throats of what they want to act upon the people. But the Democratic Party, when it comes to, the civil rights movement, the Democrats didn't come up with those ideas. They had to be pressured, forced. We have plenty of black activists go to the White House to speak to the president. That's not happening under a Republican controlled state. It's not going to happen. So I think Jayapal hit that on the nail.
Ending slavery, all those things did not seem possible until people made them possible.
So on that note,
don't trust, but let's organize.
Emil Pfaff asks,
don't
what is
trust,
the plan
but organize.
if Harris is successful? And Emil says, I'm not voting for Trump. I plan to vote Harris. But what is the plan if Harris is successful versus what is the plan for progressives if Trump is in office? Can you lay out for us what you'll carry on organizing, right, for Gaza? You'll carry on doing your pressure. But how different will it look under a President Harris versus a President Trump in Congress? Just briefly.
Well, it'll look completely different because under Donald Trump, we will all be fighting for our own survival.
Yep.
This man will be absolutely unhinged. And the easiest way to divide people is to threaten each group. Take away voting rights from Black Americans, take away, do mass deportations of immigrants, denaturalize existing citizens, which he tried to do the first time, or actually he did do the first time around, set up a whole unit. He's also talking about, I don't know if you saw the New York Times article the other day, attacking all legal immigration. So people who are even here with legal status, ending that. And so every step of the way, Donald Trump will make it so we are fighting for our own survival and we are reacting to him. There will be no proactive things. And on this issue, he will give Netanyahu a blank check. He will probably appoint David Friedman again as one of his top advisors. And that will continue. But also, we will have all of our rights stripped away from us here, and he'll be untethered. So that's all we'll be fighting for.
So once again, it feels like she has watched my YouTube videos. You know what I'm saying? I have been saying this for weeks now. Under the Democratic control, of course, we're going to have our issues. I'm not saying that. They're not a perfect party. I know that for a fact, But once again, if Trump is in office, these evil Republicans are in office, we ain't gonna have no time to worry about what's happening over there in Israel and Palestine and in Gaza, Lebanon, the West Bank, where we're not gonna have time to think about that. We're gonna be worried about here, home, our rights being stripped away, American citizens being threatened by the military, by crazy militia groups. Like, we're going to have a handful here. So why do we want to purposely put more on our plate that we may not be able to handle? You see what I'm saying? Like, let's choose our battles. It's like a video game. Like, do you want to go against the boss, 200, level 200? Or do you just want to go against the boss that's like 150? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'd rather pick a battle that I can win. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to be easy, but it's been done before historically, and we can do it again. But once again, we play around and get Trump in that office. It's going to be that ass. Trust me, it's going to be that ass. All right, let's go to 2030.
And empathetic in a way that I never saw with Joe Biden. And I've had a lot of conversations with the president on this particular issue as well, one-on-one. So I do think that her natural instinct is not
Hold on.
from the
speculation about.
There we go.
Harris. What does Harris look like ideologically and politically? Can you share with the audience where she stands on this issue, do you think, deep down? Because you know, Congresswoman, there's been a lot of speculation about, as a black woman, as the child of immigrants, as the daughter of an Indian immigrant, as someone who has a niece, Mina Harris, who's been very pro-Palestinian, as someone who has a stepdaughter who's been very critical of Israel but is Jewish, as someone who has a husband who's very pro-Israel and Jewish. Like, where do you think she stands on this?
Well, I can only speak from the conversations I've had with her, and I've had a lot of direct ones, including one that was 45 minutes long, just a week before she became the nominee, believe it or not. Such a strange, bizarre, scenario. Nobody knew she was going to be the nominee. I can tell you she is deeply moved and empathetic in a way that I never saw with Joe Biden. And I've had a lot of conversations with the president on this particular issue as well, one-on-one. So I do think that her natural instinct is not one of a guy who had a 50-year relationship as the foreign, relations chair of the committee with Netanyahu. She does not have that. That's why I remember, Mehdi, she did not attend that speech that Netanyahu gave before Congress. It was sort of a big deal. It was right when she first became the nominee.
Now, that point right there, I think kind of got overlooked. And not a lot of people spoke about that or really put a lot of attention to, because probably at that point, Trump was like threatening, immigrants or whatever the case is, how he just sucks up the air in media. But that point that she made right there, VP Harris didn't attend that meeting with Benjamin Netanyahu. She didn't show up. Why didn't she show up? She could have. If she truly 100% supports Israel in whatever they want to do, however they want to do it, she would have been there. Like 99.9% of the Republicans were there, and a lot of progressives, and a few, I kind of forget their name, but most of the progressives, and Harris wasn't there. That means something. So when we're having this conversation about how Harris is going to try to handle the situation that's over there, it's not going to be overnight. It's not going to be something that can be done, just wagging, their finger. Like, she's going to have to show some balls in that conversation. You know what I'm saying? And that's what we're going to have to try to force her to do. However we need to do that, that's what we need to do if we feel so passionate about that situation. Let's go ahead and see what she got to say.
And so I think that if you just kind of think about her separate from all the political influences, which you can't really do, but just her herself, I think she is far more aligned with, for example, where Barack Obama was. She believes, I do think when she says that she wants self-determination and freedom for the Palestinian people, she believes that. I don't think she's just saying that. I actually think she's...
The problem is not whether she believes it. The problem is she going to use U.S. leverage to get it done.
That is going to require us pushing her. I mean, I don't, because she's now going to be president. She's going to, I don't like it when she says we're going to have the toughest, most lethal military force in the world.
Awful.
I mean, she's trying to, and I'm just going to say, as a woman of color myself, we always have to work 50 times as hard to convince people that we are capable, that we will be tough, and that we are empathetic, right? All at once.
I mean,
now, I kind of do understand that. Like, I mean, I'm not a woman, obviously, but just trying to understand how women feel in a position of power, just even listening to how they have to carry themselves in a room full of men or in a position of power like the presidency. Like, you can't show any sign of weakness or like any sort of like soft spots. You know what I'm saying? Which is weird, you know what I'm saying? But because no one's gonna never really criticize a guy like that. You know what I'm saying? So I do kind of understand that to a certain extent. But I do need for her, like she can say whatever tough thing she wants, but I need to hear from her that she's going to do whatever she needs to ensure that the Palestinian people are going to be free to some extent. She may not, cause peace in the Middle East, but the bombing, the killing needs to stop. That needs to happen. A ceasefire needs to stop. However that needs to be done. I'm pretty sure there's a lot more smarter people in her circle that can figure that out, but it needs to be done. And I would like to hear her say that, So, I kind of do understand that a little bit.
That we are capable, that we will be tough, and that we are empathetic, right? All at once.
I mean, some of this is campaigning, is what you're saying. Yes. Let me put a couple of related questions. You mentioned other topics other than Gaza. We will come back to Gaza in a moment.
All right. And I think that's pretty much it. I think they start going into some other topics, but once again, if you're watching this, voting tomorrow or today, can't be emotional. It can't be something that means that like you're in love with the Democratic Party or like you're endorsing them. No, that's complete opposite. This is literally a transactional type of relationship. I do something for you, you now do something for me. There's no exchanging names, no exchanging numbers, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am type of relationship. You know what I'm saying? No emotions involved. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to talk about prostitution, but like, there should be no feelings behind that. And they know that because, we can have the conversations about how they really do very little or the bare minimum for the American people. You know what I'm saying? So we need to go into that voting booth with no feelings attached and be strategic about our voting, because we don't want to reward the Republicans with another 4 years in that office. Because trust me, that's a check that your ass can't cash. Trust me. But once again, if you guys disagree with anything that I said in this video, let me know in the comments down below or hit the Discord link so we can have that one-on-one talk. And like always, let's have that conversation.